This is From Justin to Kane, a podcast where Mike Robertson and Bob LaRue watch one critically acclaimed film and one terrible film and talk about how they are the same. Welcome, everybody, to From Justin to Kane. This is a spicy episode because the Oscars are in T-minus 3 hours from when we're recording. When does it? Yeah, Mountain Standard
Starts at
Time.
6 o'clock.
6.
Yeah.
Shit,
well,
so
3
yeah.
hours. 3 hours to the red carpet.
That's right. 3 hours to the red carpet. So Mike and I are being real spicy because we're going to talk about that a little bit, as well as the two movies we're doing. And then we'll release this, I don't know, right after the Oscars tomorrow.
Right after the Oscars.
The next day.
Tomorrow morning.
So everything we say will be irrelevant because it'll have already happened, but it's still, a time-sensitive thing.
Is this our special Oscars episode?
I think this is a dual corners episode. We got our norm corner, our normal programming, and also our Oscars corner, our cubby.
Yes.
Two cubbies.
Love it.
Like where you put your shoes when you're in the first grade. Okay. Well, let's. Yeah. I mean, should we just talk about the Oscars first, or should we just get into the movies and let this?
No, let's
turn
talk about
into
the
a
Oscars at the
digression
end.
Mess?
I think we can do a little bit of a Oscars prediction thing at the very end.
Excellent.
Because basically the Oscars is sandwiched in between our recording and our release of this episode, so we might as well just see how wrong we are.
Yeah. Well, you and I famously have not watched probably 70% of the films. We have no idea what's going on.
Which is weird because usually the movies that are nominated for Oscars are not interesting to me, generally speaking. Whereas now they're more kind of like low budget, more indie-ish kind of films or foreign films. And those are kind of more the movies that I'm interested in. So it's kind of actually weird that I haven't seen most of these movies.
Yeah. Or anything Spielberg touches. Like a remake.
Yeah.
A remake being nominated for Best Picture. Who knew? Who knew? The two movies, this, boy, what a collection we've made for the people. I would say both of these films are indie darlings. Would you agree with that?
No.
The joke is that they're not. Anyways, our good film is from 1969. It's Robert Downey Sr.'s, parentheses, a prince, his most famous film.
Right.
Putney Swope. It's also the one that made the most money, which is interesting. Putney Swope, satirical
It
comedy.
seems to have had quite the cultural impact.
Yes. Well, his timing was good. 69, that was a spicy time.
It was.
It's also, he made a lot of work that like transcends time, but this one is very clearly just like a modern era film when it came out. It's like, it's 1969, motherfuckers,
Yeah.
Whereas other stuff, he plays with time travel and like ethereal, plotless sort of stream of consciousness kind of stuff with other films like Bobo 73 and whatever.
This movie kind of felt like a precursor to Sorry to Bother You. Is that what it's called?
Where the horse people are in it?
Yeah.
Sexy
spoilers.
Horse people? Fuck, man. It's a film podcast. We don't have spoilers. What are we doing, bro?
I know it's true.
And then 2021 or 2?
2022. It was supposed to come out. It
2022's
was supposed to come out in 2020 and 2021. It was delayed twice.
Wow, just like James Bond.
Yeah.
And, many countless films. But anyways, Marry Me, starring J-Lo and Owen Wilson.
That's right.
And that comedian, what is her name?
Sarah Silverman.
Sarah Silverman, yeah. Oh boy, I can't believe she's in the movie. Anyways, those are the two films. Let's start with Marry Me, because I don't know anything about this film, Mike.
You don't know anything about it at all?
Well, I know who's in it, and I watched it voluntarily. I watched it before we decided to do it for the pod, which says so much about me. But I guess it's the same thing for you.
You love rom-coms.
No, I don't. Where'd you get that idea? Just kidding. There's a lot of documentation proving that I love rom-coms. I do love rom-coms, and I will say this one was hard to watch.
Yes.
Could not buy in.
I agree. So Marry Me came out in 2022, February 14th.
Year
Valentine's
of our Lord.
Day. The year of our Lord. The day of our Lord, St. Valentine.
That's right.
Praise be
Great
to
Lord.
him. So it is a rom-com / drama, ?
Yes.
It is directed by Kat Coro, and you might recognize that person from not knowing who this person is, because who is Kat Coro? Nobody knows.
Okay. That's a real misdirection, Mike. Holy shit.
Yeah.
You really took us for a journey.
Some people know who Kat Coro is, but I don't think...
Like family friends of Kat Coro's.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
She has been mainly a TV director. So she directed the TV show Girls 5 Eva, which is like a, 20 years too late kind of parody of Pop Stars, I guess, maybe.
Let me just say this. I'm really getting into this 5 Ever thing. I don't know what it means. I don't know where it came from, but it's fun to use in text, ironically. Yes. You know? I don't know. That's just a little sidebar. Very fun.
They make the same joke in that Pixar movie, Turning Red.
Which I have not seen.
That's
the newest
good.
Pixar film?
Yeah, it's pretty
Canadian.
Good. It's set in Canada, and the director is from Canada. But yeah, they have the same joke where it's a boy band called Four Town, but there's 5 of them.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun movie. Anyway, so Marry Me is a rom-com directed by Kat Coro, screenplay by John Rogers, who has written some of the worst movies you've seen in your life. Like the
what an accolade.
Like the 2004 Catwoman movie.
Right.
And then 2 other people named Tammy Sager and Harper Dale, who I did not really look into.
Right.
Because they did not have hyperlinks on Wikipedia, and I was like, the Catwoman thing's interesting enough.
Shout out to Wikipedia, our primary source of information.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this than Wikipedia. But then also, Wikipedia just takes a bunch of sources and links to them. So you can go to those articles if you want, but they're just taking the nuggets out of it anyway.
That's right. We love nuggets on this podcast.
Oh, we love nuggets. Speaking of which, borrowed an air fryer for the Oscars tonight. Gonna make some fake chicken. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. A night full of nuggets.
A night full of nuggets for sure.
Yeah.
The movie Marry Me is based on a graphic novel, believe it or not.
What?
Which is by a person named Bobby Crosby, and it didn't start as a graphic novel, believe it or not. It started as a web comic on a website called Keenspot.
Okay. I hate this already.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't know when I was watching a movie with Jennifer Lopez that it was based on like a web comic. And the web comic looks exactly what you assume it looks like in terms of like, you know how web comics are kind of drawn? Yeah, it looks like that.
I'm just saying, but I don't actually know. I don't even know what a webcomic is, but I'm playing along for the benefit of
it's like a comic strip, but it's like anybody can make it, you know?
Right.
Like a graphic novel at a comic book store. It's like, well, this is kind of like going to the movie store and renting a movie, whereas looking at a webcomic is like going on YouTube. It's like anybody can make a webcomic.
Yeah.
But this one resulted in a feature film starring 2 of the biggest celebrities.
Yeah.
So there you go. And also Bobby Crosby, the creator of the webcomic, is also hilariously a YouTube star.
Okay.
And he has more than 1 million subscribers and 500 million video views with his channel Dodger Films, which I've never heard of. So it's just funny this world we live in, and also how old I am as a person, that so much media can just like be so popular and I'll never experience
pass you by. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful though that you do? It shows you still have power.
How so?
to not be, because there's clearly a force behind this person, and you and I have never heard of them. And it's nice that we're bombarded by entertainment every day. And it's nice that there are things that just like the AI algorithm just skips us because it's like, no, that's not for you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's always wild when I'm like on Twitter or something and somebody will be like, be talking about something and then they'll be like, oh my God, Clown Face 2069 made a video about this and it is like right on the money. And I'm just like, I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah. But your YouTube handle is Old Curmudgeon 421.
Yeah, I know.
Because you didn't even know 420 was a joke. You just said 421 because that's your area code. 421
because my area code, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone is like, "We really missed a bit," and you're like, "What?" Like 420, and you're like, "What's 420?" And they're like, "The day you could smoke weed before it was legal."
Yeah.
And you're like, what? What's weed? And they're like, what? And then you were like, oh, you mean devil's lettuce. Right. I'd smoked that at Woodstock 99.
It's true, I did when I was watching Limp Bizkit.
Sorry, that was a little roast. Little mic roast.
Honestly, there was a lot of good bands at Woodstock 99. It gets dissed a little too much.
Didn't people die?
I think people died at the original Woodstock as well.
Oh,
I think I watched the Woodstock 99 documentary on HBO. Not necessarily a good documentary at all, but it does kind of illuminate a pretty interesting thing, that the peace and love kind of narrative of the original Woodstock overwhelmed how disorganized and disgusting and deadly like the original Woodstock was. Yeah. Obviously it wasn't as like violent and, toxic masculinity focused as Woodstock 99, but
they're both problematic.
They're both problematic, yeah.
I mean, no hygiene is a problem, and bad behavior is a problem.
Yeah. It sounds like they had a lot of the same problems too, just in terms of how poorly organized it was.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Woodstock. Am I right?
That documentary was produced by Dodger Films, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Dodger Films 68.
So anyway, Marry Me 2022. I mentioned before, delayed twice due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still ongoing. Believe it or not.
It's over.
Oh, it's over,
done.
yeah.
No, yeah, it's done.
Also, they released a single from the movie in 2020. So
called COVID Isn't Real?
Called COVID Isn't Real, yeah. No, it's called Patty, and it did, which I don't remember from the movie, but it debuted.
I don't either.
Number 9 on Billboard's Hot Latin Songs. So it was the highest charting song from J-Lo.
But Owen Wilson is the one who's performing it. How does that make any sense? He's not Latin. What the fuck? He's from Texas.
Yeah. I mean, it's close to Mexico.
I mean, he's wearing a lot of bronzer in the film.
He really is.
Yeah, he looks like a cake man.
But anyway, this was J-Lo's highest song debut in 5 years.
Wow. Well, she hasn't released anything in 5 years, probably.
Well, exactly. That's probably why that's not really much of
it's a terrible metric. But the best thing I've done in 5 years. Well, you haven't done anything in 5 years, so going from 0 to 1 is a huge improvement.
Yeah. Congrats, J-Lo. Congrats.
Yeah.
The movie's been out only for a month, believe it or not. Feels like forever. Feels like
we're really on the pulse, aren't we?
So it was it did $50 million in box office. And then it was also the most streamed movie, day and date, whatever that means, on Peacock, which is
what'd you just call me?
Jesus. You have a chaotic energy.
I'm just bringing the heat.
You really are.
Yeah. I don't apologize.
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it.
Okay, good. You better. You ungrateful little shit.
Yeah, so it was released on Valentine's Day. It set some sort of streaming record on Peacock. Not in general, just on Peacock, which is probably pretty easy to do.
Well, again, I think it's going 0 to 1 is wow, it's like you started doing the thing, and that's an improvement in and of itself from not doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
it did score first place at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
With $3 million. Wow, on Valentine's Day. So it was the first rom-com to lead the box office since 2014.
I don't want to be that guy, but I bet money it was the only film released that weekend.
It was also nobody else was releasing Valentine's Day centric films, so
right.
I don't know. Wasn't there a Spider-Man movie that weekend? Who knows? I don't remember.
There wasn't.
It feels like there's always one happening.
What's your beef with Spider-Man, man? It was fun. No Way Home was fun.
It's just not God's way. A man spider? I don't like it.
Just not God's way. God, that's great.
So Marry Me had a Colombian pop star in it who is a real musician named Maluma, who apparently is very famous. There's a big Maluma poster behind your head. It's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And he played the original love interest who cheats on J-Lo in the movie. Spoiler alert.
Oh, yes.
And then is the source of kind of this weird tepid tension between her, Maluma, and Owen Wilson about, are you in love with him? He'll say, and it's just
yeah.
I don't know. Who cares?
It never really goes anywhere.
Doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah.
They never raise the stakes in the movie.
It's a weird movie because generally in a rom-com, the main characters are both a little bit insane.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters in this movie are a little too reasonable. Even J-Lo, who's like a
very
super
even
huge
keeled
pop star, she's like dedicated to making the thing work with Owen Wilson the whole movie and doesn't really like create drama.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's just
That's
always
so
creating
true.
drama, but it's not really enough drama to like worry about. And then they usually resolve it after a conversation. So it's like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, during the movie, the pandemic happened. Well, they were filming it, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So while they were filming it, the pandemic started. And so J-Lo and Maluma had to film scenes at their own house in order to complete the movie.
Mm.
And they, Lopez's kids and also her baseball player, ex-boyfriend or husband, Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod.
So wait, what? Are they together or not?
Well, no, they're not.
I need to know.
They're not together, I don't think, because she was spotted on the red carpet with Ben Affleck.
Oh, I'm surprised it's not fucking Pete Davidson. Am I right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, A-Rod
tattooed lanky boys.
But she has a kid with A-Rod, so her and A-Rod and the kids kind of helped out with like doing some crew positions.
Just a 3-year-old swing and boom? Like, what does that mean?
I don't know what shots that they missed. I assume it was this one where she's sitting on a couch talking on the phone.
That's like 85% of the film.
Oh yeah, there's so many phone scenes. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm just roasting.
I don't like
movie.
when characters talk on the phones in movies.
No? What about in Doctor Strangelove?
I mean, that's fine. I'm just talking about like where conversations that characters have, where characters have multiple conversations on phone, or when a lot of drama kind of happens over the phone. I find it very annoying. It's like, you can get them in the same room. You're writing a script. You can make up the story. Like, it doesn't need to be just constantly phone conversations.
Mm-hmm. That's the world we live in. You and I are doing this over Zoom, baby.
Come on. It's true.
We're not in the same room.
Anyway, one last fact about Marry Me.
Mm-hmm.
It is the first film J-Lo and Owen Wilson have appeared together since 1997, where they were in the film Anaconda.
That's right.
Which I like to believe is the prequel to this film.
Same cinematic universe.
They both kind of just hit their head, got amnesia, fell in love after like going separate ways.
Yeah.
And just like, you don't remember the snake?
Yeah, is that about a snake?
Is it about a snake?
Yeah.
It's called Anaconda.
But it's a literal snake?
Yeah, it's not a metaphor.
Oh, I thought it was a metaphor for like a massive member or something.
No.
Oh, okay. I hear Owen Wilson has an anaconda in those khakis.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at math. You can probably measure that thing to a very, very small increment.
One could assume that because his anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun. And J-Lo famously has a butt.
Yes, she does, yeah.
A famous butt.
He famously doesn't have a butt.
No. Also,
there's no ass.
The two of them are both 52 in the film. So they're both like in their early 50s, and it's a rom-com. So it's kind of actually a thing you don't see that often.
That's true.
Because it's directed towards younger people, but it has middle-aged people in it. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But you can also tell that J-Lo has had a lot of very good plastic surgery because she looks the same as she always has.
And Owen Wilson looks like he got hit by a bus.
Yeah, he looks old.
Twice.
He looks like an old woman a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Which is a bit mean.
He's still a fox.
Yeah, I mean, he still looks good, but he also is like, he doesn't need to get plastic surgery. So you can see his face aging, whereas she has to because of, society.
Misogyny, man.
Yeah.
Patriarchy's still alive and well, bro.
Yeah. And you always say that. That's something you always say. We live in a society.
Period. Oh, wow. What an insightful observation, Bob. Thanks. Great. Well, that was super interesting.
Was it?
No, I have to say that was very dry. Pretty unremarkable film. There's nothing juicy to talk about.
No. But is it bad? Is it a bad film?
It was too bland. It didn't even try to be like a bad film. They played it so safe, and I think that's the offense that they committed.
It was like as boring as a Hallmark holiday movie kind of feeling.
Yeah, but with way more money behind it and like prettier people.
Yes.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Take that, actors who star in these films regularly.
That's right.
You're not attractive enough for Bob.
I famously hate ugly people. Okay.
I mean,
all right.
who likes them?
Carry on, Mike. I want to hear the rest of this. Yeah.
The official position from Justin to Kane podcast is Ugmos, take a hike.
That's right. Stop listening. Close your dirty, gross ears.
We've got a voice for radio, but you've got a face for radio. Just all of our listeners just are like, he's calling us ugly, and then they stop listening. It's a scandal.
Went from 8 listeners to 0. Pretty damn quick. Shit. Okay, Putney Swope. Released in 1969. It's a satirical comedy.
Nice.
That sort of pokes fun at American advertising. Obviously, advertising, the whole Mad Men craze, like the 60s were a very famous time for modern advertising and the sort of post-war boom. Robert Downey Sr., he's just a scrappy daddy. He was never an established filmmaker. He would make indie films all the way until his death. Very, very scrappy. But he was sort of like one of the tenets of the counterculture movement, as well as the indie filmmaking movement of the late 60s all the way through the 70s. Had quite a prolific filmography for about 20 years, but continued to make stuff up until his death. This is Robert Downey Jr.'s dad we're talking about. Their family. It's all in the family. Robert Downey Jr. made his acting debut in his dad's film Pounds, and he ultimately acted in 8 of his dad's movies, which is pretty cool. Gosh, so I guess one thing to talk about, this film very famously had Arnold Johnson, who, this was his first film. He's the guy who plays Swope. This was his first film.
Swope.
His first acting gig, and he went on to have a prolific acting career. He was in Rocky and several other films.
Shaft.
Yeah, he was in Shaft, yeah. And then he did a lot of TV up into the 90s. And somehow he got a career because he can't memorize dialogue to save his life.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of weird.
So Robert Downey Sr. Dubbed every single line of dialogue with his own voice. So Arnold Johnson's just like talking nonsense all the way through production. This is sort of like, like an Italian school of filmmaking where it's like, fuck it, we'll just dub it in post. But everyone else was caught live.
Yeah,
except
you could
for
tell.
him. Arnold Johnson. So, the sound is almost better out of Arnold Johnson's mouth because it's clearly in a studio.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the audio is very rickety and tinny.
There's a samey right there.
Oh.
There's lip syncing in both movies.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because RDS, not RDJ, does the voice of the titular Swope.
That's right.
And then Jennifer Lopez, while she does sing the songs, she doesn't perform them live.
She does a playback. What we call playback in the biz.
That's what we call playback in the biz, yeah.
That's right. We're going to have playback tonight, working on a commercial overnight for a mattress company, and we're filming a musical, and there's going to be choreo and stuff. It's probably going to be pretty cringy, but I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait to see it on TV.
Big fan of playback. So, yeah, Arnold Johnson. So I guess there's a thing to talk about. Oh, yeah. The internet loves bringing up that there's a Mel Brooks in this film, but it's not the Mel Brooks. There's multiple articles being like, just to be clear, it's a piece of trivia. It's like, this is Mel Brooks's only on-screen credit, not that Mel Brooks. They have identical names, which is very, very funny.
Mm-hmm. And one of them is not famous.
Precisely. Both New Yorkers, though.
Sounds about right.
How many Mel Brooks are in New York? Probably many.
Probably a lot, yeah.
Yeah. You ever look up your own name in a phone book?
I have a very generic name. My name is all over the place.
You have two extremely generic names.
At least, yeah. At least every time the Olympics happens, the Winter Olympics, somebody's just like, "Hey, are you the snowboarder?"
Oh, that's funny. And you say yes, and then they're like, "Do a kickflip, bro," and you're like, "That's a different sport." And they're like, "Fuck you," and then they walk away.
Some of the terminology is the same, though. I watched the snowboarding during the Olympics this last year, and I was like, "Oh, I can figure out what they're saying."
Oh yeah, it's fairly intuitive. It's like, cool. Shaun White did a wiggle waggle. Nice.
A 1060 wiggle waggle. Didn't do the full 1080.
1060. Holy shit. That's a letdown.
A 1079.
Yeah. Are you sure it wasn't a 1080? No, we're pretty sure. We got a lot of technology monitoring your rotations. You didn't do it, son. Okay, anyways. So Robert Downey Sr. is famous for casting non-actors. And he was a New Yorker his whole life until he died. And he was, very unabashedly, he would just approach people to be in the films. So the lady who's in the You Can't Eat an Air Conditioner ad, very stunning woman, very, very, she's great. She was a server at a restaurant, and he just said, like, hey, can you be in my movie? And she's like, yeah. The really tall, lanky old guy who works for Putney Swope before he's fired, and he has that extremely racist pitch for, I forget the product, toothpaste or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. He met him in a phone booth.
I watched an interview that was on
Paul
the Criterion.
Thomas Anderson?
Yeah, with Paul Thomas Anderson. And
those
Robert
are
Downey
good,
Sr.
hey?
Yeah, but they spend a lot of time talking about that woman. And,
it's pervy.
Yeah, Robert Downey Sr. is just like, yeah, man, she was hot and she was pretty and stuff. And you could kind of tell Paul Thomas Anderson's like, yeah, sure, yeah. Like, he's not sure how he should handle it. He probably agrees, but...
Well, you didn't watch a different interview where they were talking about, I forget the film. It's the film Turquoise to Tau Today or whatever, that film.
Huh?
And his Robert Downey Sr.'s wife is in it, and then they were discussing like blocking, and then Paul Thomas Anderson was like, well, what do you do? Like, do you just give them like instructions? And he's like, I just let them do whatever they want. And she just never said no. And then he said, that's my kind of woman. And then they both laughed, and they just kind of looked at each other, and it was a very awkward moment of just like sort of this like overt misogyny, and it turned into like this boys clubby moment. And then Robert Downey Sr. is like, holy shit, he's talking about my ex-wife, my kind of woman. And he's like laughing. The camera guys aren't laughing, but you can tell that they want to. It was fun.
This is for the very classy Criterion channel.
Just four guys talking about ladies in a room with some cameras on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that video that I saw, I watched it before I saw the movie. And I was expecting that part to be a bigger part of the movie, but it literally is like 25 seconds. But they spent so much time talking about that woman.
Well, it's one of the most famous parts of the film.
Really?
Yeah,
I found it very forgettable.
The commercials are extremely,
the commercials
like,
are,
all of them, because they're kind of played back to back, but they're all in color, which is really nice. It sort of breaks up the film. But yeah, you can't eat a air conditioner. That's like a very famous line. Of the I Saw Your Beaver Girl, that ad for acne paste or whatever is like really famous.
You can't eat an air conditioner.
Anyways, so yeah, he met, just a bunch of non-actors, and he used them throughout his career, and, it was like he had no rules as a filmmaker, which is kind of refreshing. But it also reflects in the films. Sometimes they're hard to sit through.
Yes. Like
Putney Swope, you can tell it's a classic, sort of anarchist satirical comedy, and it pulls no punches, and it's, you can admire it, but it is kind of hard to sit through.
Especially if you watch it in potato vision on YouTube.
Yeah, 480p with terrible sound, and sometimes, banding across the screen because they're ripping it off of VHS.
I should have watched it on a nicer version. I should have actually...
You should have bought the Blu-ray that came out in 2019.
I don't know that I ever will.
Well, I got bad news for you. I got one coming in the mail to your house.
Oh, no, not again.
That's right.
I'm gonna be swimming in Swope over here.
Yeah, you're swimming in Swope, all right. So Robert Downey Sr., a prince, also famously in The Family Man starring Nicolas Cage, Robert Downey Sr. is in that film. And when they do credits at the end, it says a prince beside his name. He gave himself that name on Johnny Carson in the early 60s. Somehow, as a filmmaker, he became famous enough to do Carson twice, which is kind of crazy because he was never a household name.
No.
And his son clearly is an example of true fame and Hollywood fortune, whereas Robert Downey Sr. never got that until basically his career was over and he became a cult figure.
Yeah.
But his line is, he's too young to be a king and too committed to be a queen, so he's a prince. I don't really understand what that means, but it's catchy that parentheses a prince is beside his name on any screen credit.
Yeah, that is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But funny also, I guess. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. It would have been better if he had not given himself the name.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw it, but I also forgot about it instantly. It didn't make me laugh, as did most of the movie.
I never laughed out loud. I could see it being funny, like the deliberate nature of like, this is going to be funny. Like, this is a funny thing.
Yeah, it feels funny.
Yeah, but I never laughed.
There's a same Z right there between the two films. They're both considered comedies. I didn't laugh.
No, I didn't laugh in either of them. Well, you know, both films, these films are actually quite similar.
Oh, yeah.
Shockingly similar. I guess we'll get into it. I got one more little... do I have one more fact? Oh, yeah. So Robert Downey Sr. died July 7th, 2021. So very recently he passed away.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And Licorice Pizza, which is nominated tonight for Best Picture, is dedicated to him. Paul Thomas Anderson famously... Actually, he's kind of 2 for 2 now because Jonathan Demme died as he wrapped Phantom Thread, and that film is dedicated to Demme. And now Licorice Pizza is dedicated to Robert Downey Sr. So Paul Thomas Anderson is trying to... Well, A, he's losing a lot of his friends and colleagues because they're all older than him, and B, he's trying to immortalize them with his filmography, which is kind of cool. Because you can see... Like, Inherent Vice is clearly a Robert Downey Sr. film. You know what I mean? Just in terms of tonality and this, like, lucid plot that just, like, meanders and explores different avenues. And it's not this, like, cohesive thing. None of his films are cohesive post Punch Drunk Love. But anyways, you can see the influence. You can see the influence. Big time.
I gotta watch that movie again.
Inherent Vice, I love it. I think it might be my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Wow. I haven't seen Licorice Pizza yet.
It's very good. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's like somehow there's no perv energy. And it's so interesting that they pulled it off.
Yeah. It is kind of strange. This is like been a pretty good year for movies, 2021. And I haven't seen a lot of these movies. I haven't seen Licorice Pizza. I've been excited for that movie Titane. I haven't seen that even. You
haven't seen Titane?
It's been on video on demand for months, and I just have not put the time in. Well, part of it, the last month has just been Elden Ring, pretty much. That's my media consumption right there.
Yeah. You're a terrible cinephile, and you put us all to shame.
Yeah,
you've betrayed the cause. All the canines are wooing you, which is a dog's way of wooing.
Oh,
sad woo. Anyways, that's basically all I have. Surprisingly, not a lot written about this film, even though it's very culty and famous. It was made for $250,000.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like you could get distribution. It played in like 2 theaters for years, so it did like end up making quite a bit of money and profiting. But back in the day, like distribution would be like, yeah, I own 3 theaters. I'll play this. Like, I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays that's unheard of, but it's pretty amazing that was the thing back in the day.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of cult theaters and stuff. Yeah.
There was just fewer films back then.
That's true. Fewer films. And also TV was harder to watch. And there was no internet.
Says you.
And there's no Elden Ring either, you friggin' loser.
I know. I mean, we're definitely living in the best. This right now, probably the best time to be alive, actually, because technology is like in a real sweet spot right now. We're like right on the precipice of climate disaster, but we're not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we have it all.
Watching Marry Me felt like a climate disaster. It was like trying to be a hot movie, but it was just so cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like what I did there?
Yeah, I do.
Pretty cool. Well, let's get into some samesies.
Sure.
Get into the samesies nook.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Yeah, great.
Okay, what you got?
Well, I just want to say this one's sort of like a broad thematic one, but both of these films, New York based. Firstly.
Okay, yeah, good.
And secondly, they both take place near a large body of water.
Okay, I think this is our last episode, everybody.
I have a nosebleed all of a sudden. I'm losing my mind. But thirdly, they both examine an American sort of like commercial system, and they criticize them.
Yes.
So Marry Me criticizes like fame and the music industry, as well as like social media and like what it is to like have a life but be part of this like large machine. And Putney Swope examines and basically eviscerates modern advertising and American advertising. And both films basically make fun of money and power.
Yeah.
And they're like sort of shockingly similar in that way. Yeah, I guess they both have love triangles too. Putney Swope has a wife or something, and then he sleeps with other people, and J-Lo's playing the field a little bit, you know what I mean?
Also, speaking of marriage, in both movies, someone gets married off the cuff.
Just That's right. That's right.
They surprise themselves and others. That's the plot of Marry Me, because she's a pop star. There's a guy holding up a Marry Me sign, and that is Owen Wilson. And he's holding it for who? I don't remember.
For Sarah Silverman.
For Sarah Silverman.
She goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
She plays a gay character in this film.
That's right. Yeah. So he's holding up her sign, and then J-Lo, in a moment of what is going on in this movie, is like, I want to marry this guy because he has this sign. And then they get married on the stage.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense. And that is the inciting incident of the film. But anyway,
I couldn't have said it better myself.
In Putney Swope, there's a part where he's trying to get this girl to come up with like an ad idea, and then she's just like, "You got to marry me" or something, and then it cuts to them getting married, and then it cuts to them in bed, and he's just like, "All right, I need that idea." That was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it's it's funny. Putney Swope's funnier when you talk about it. Not when you're watching it, but when you talk back about it, it's like, oh man, that bit was pretty funny.
Yeah, there's a couple of good bits.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's that. Yeah.
Nice. Both films feature somebody not eating an air conditioner.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that
pretty
is
good.
True.
Huh?
Nobody eats an air conditioner in either film.
Yes, but both films, on a serious note, and this is also a shitty samey, feature unique, only high-powered ways of traveling. So like, there's like limousines and like famous people, kind of entourage shit going on in Marry Me.
Yeah.
And in Putney Swope, we have a helicopter off the top and also like a presidential car / parade.
I think that helicopter shot, Louis C.K. ripped it off for his show.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, or for
it's Louis C.K.'s favorite film.
Yeah. Which is that why? What's that movie he made that didn't get released because it was too perverted and he was revealed to be a pervert and it was just a bad scene, whatever. I Love You, Daddy, I think. That's in black and white. Do you think that was a tribute to Putney Swope, or was it?
It was, definitely.
Okay. I wasn't sure because it
could
also be a Woody
well
Allen
documented as saying like Putney Swope is number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So both movies feature fake versions of a real thing within the media industry, of which they skewer. So
wow, say that 5 times fast.
I know.
Right?
So in Putney Swope, there is fake ads. The Marry Me movie, there's songs which are real songs, I guess technically because we hear them, and they get released outside of the film. But then also they kind of live in the film. So it's like, this is a fake pop star who doesn't really exist in real life, singing songs that technically aren't supposed to exist in real life. They're written for the movie.
Right.
Yeah. That is that.
Huh. That's good.
And also on that note, there's also musical sequences in both films because one of the commercials about the acne cream or whatever is a song.
Yep.
Which is one of the most famous parts of the movie. I was like, oh, I've seen this before.
A pimple is simple if you treat your pimples right.
My man uses face-off. He's really out of sight. And for his pimples.
Yeah.
And then there's like just they sing songs in the Marry Me movie.
Am I correct in remembering there's like iPhone footage in Marry Me, right?
Yeah.
So both films have use of multimedia and format changes. So Putney Swope has like the narrative film. I mean, everything's shot 16 millimeter, so it's like the format isn't actually different. but the context of it is. So it's like there's the narrative film and then the advertisements within the film.
Right.
And Marry Me has like TikTok footage, Instagram footage, cell phone footage, whatever, of J-Lo and dancers, etc. And daily, and vlogging. So there's vlogging within the film. So there's like her YouTube channel, which is a thing separate the narrative of the film. But that was cringy watching that. I was like, ugh, yuck. Somebody just following you around with a shitty little camera.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you can go now. He's like, okay. Y'all gonna bone? Both films are filled with nonsense and don't make any sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And just have like no emotional clarity.
They both have a preposterous concept, but then one of them succeeds and one of them fails.
Mm-hmm. But who are we to decide?
They both kind of have the same story or the same kind of. They both kind of have the same plot idea of just like a character who is a fish out of water, who is put into a world that he kind of doesn't belong in, but then gets a little too confident with it. Like Owen Wilson's character, plucked out of obscurity, just a regular guy, a math teacher, becomes married to a pop star, and then he just weirdly gets really confident about it right away. And then in Putney Swope,
he acclimates so quick.
Yeah. He becomes he becomes a little bit too like almost aggro about it sometimes.
Yes.
He likes
That's
bossing J-Lo around.
Yeah.
And in Putney Swope is very similar, where it's like everybody on the advertising board, one of the guys dies, and then everybody on the advertising board puts in a vote, and they all vote for Putney because he's the only black man. They all assume nobody else would vote for him.
Yeah.
So they just kind of do it out of racist cruelty. And then he becomes...
Well, they do it for the bit.
They do it for the bit, yeah.
And I'd say both films have somebody doing something insane for the bit.
Yeah.
It's like, we voted this guy chairman. And it's like, I married Owen Wilson.
So he becomes the president of the ad agency. He fires all of them. And then he just turns it into a weird ass, kind of like cartoonish advertising things. But then all of the ads become very popular and people love them.
Yes.
So, and then he just gets a little too confident. Every time he talks to someone, he's just like, you're fired.
That's right.
If they don't please Putney.
Both films are sort of they highlight numbers and how important they are. Putney Swope, constantly he's getting reports about money, how much money this place is making, and he's always high-fiving people. And then with Marry Me, guess what? Owen Wilson, he's a motherfucking math teacher,
and there's mathematics.
And his daughter is a mathlete.
Yeah,
and she gets out of her shell by dancing. 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. The numbers are important. So numbers, they're multifaceted, very important in both films.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
I only have one more.
That was my last one. So great timing. Wow.
Well, there's a Marvel connection to both movies, as there probably is nowadays. There's a Marvel connection to everything. But
yes,
Robert Downey Sr., father of Robert Downey Jr., who is Iron Man. And then Marry Me stars Owen Wilson, who plays Morbius in the TV show Loki, which I have not seen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he is in that show.
So I'm taking the internet's
he's in it.
Word for it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's there. He's quite famously there, yeah.
Okay, well there you go. So there's like a lot of Morbius going on right now in the culture.
Wow, that's great.
So let's we kind of decided these are both the same movie. Believe it or not, the shitty rom-com from 2022 is the same as underground classic Putney Swope.
Yeah.
And a lot of people probably would be mad about that.
Yeah, well, fuck you. They're the same film.
So let's chat the Oscars, because the Oscars starts in 2 hours from where we're recording this.
Ooh,
and we're really revealing just how down to the wire this recording is. But
truly.
But whatever.
This is our style. Whatever.
It's just our style, yeah. So let's talk Oscar picks. What are our Oscar picks? Well, and it's not so much that we're going to like get a prize or anything happens. It's just more we will just have a recording for posterity of how wrong we are.
Yeah, well,
It'll be interesting
full disclosure, I don't know what's nominated. I just Googled Oscar nominations. Best Picture. Oh, wow. Google, you get me.
Yeah, what's your pick for Best Pick? We got Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
I'm just going to say this. I think it's Power of the Dog.
Okay.
How about you?
West Side Story.
Okay,
nice. So let's see if we're wrong tomorrow.
Excellent. So for Best Actor, who do you think's going to win?
Okay, so Best Actor, we got Javier Bardem, Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, Will Smith, and Denzel Washington.
Yep.
I guess I could list the movies that they're in, but it's too late. I've already.
It doesn't matter.
Names. Yeah, who cares? So I am going to assume. You know what? I'm going to go with Benedict.
Me too.
Is Power of the Dog going to sweep? So far,
I think Power of the Dog's sweeping.
Okay, I watched 10% of that film.
Wow.
There's so many movies that I started and didn't finish.
You have commitment issues.
No, it's just because someone else is watching them in the house, and I just kind of come in and watch a little bit of it, and then I was like, I started like watching this 20% of the way through, and I only watched 10 minutes of it. I kind of don't want that to be my viewing experience, so I'm going to start this from the beginning later.
Right. Yeah.
Because I really it's a weird pet peeve of mine to just not start a movie from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. Why would you watch a story and you're missing a chunk of it?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah. So I say Benedict Cumberbatch. You agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know if he did a good job. I didn't really see him that much.
He was great. He was great in it. It's the only film I've seen, truth be told, of all those nominees. I haven't seen Tick, Tick, Boom, Being the Ricardos, Tragedy of Macbeth, or King Richard.
Okay, what about Best Actress?
Well, I haven't seen any of these films, so it's purely based on hype. I'm going to make a guess, though, because I've heard great things that it's going to go to Kristen Stewart.
You think?
Yeah. Apparently she was amazing.
Kristen Stewart playing Lady Di?
Diana, yeah. What do you
So Princess, so Jessica Chastain, Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman from some movie called The Lost Daughter. Haven't seen it. Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers, the Almodovar film. Nicole Kidman, the Ricardos film, and then Kristen Stewart. So, yeah, I'm feeling like this is a Kristen Stewart year.
Yeah,
but I also could see Jessica Chastain getting it because of just how specific that movie is, I guess.
What the hell is Tammy Faye?
So Tammy Faye was a evangelist from the 80s and 90s, and she had this crazy like eye makeup.
Huh.
And so they made like a biopic about her, and it also has what's his putz from. Has Andrew Garfield in it.
Weird, man.
They both played the Bakers. So directing, Kenneth Branagh, Belfast, Ryusuke Hamaguchi, Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion, The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg, a little up-and-comer, West Side Story.
Funny Dune didn't get nominated for that.
Yeah.
Our boy Denis, fellow Canadian, did not get nominated. Kind of crazy. I don't agree with a lot of these nominations. I think Jane Campion might get it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because the other four are all turds.
It seems like Power of the Dog is like the sure thing. It's a Western.
I think it's a sweep.
And it's got a lot of big talent in it. Jane Campion hasn't really done anything of like real importance since In the Cut? So
nice. That sick little burn there. Shit, dog. You're mean.
I hear
like
that movie's good though. You said it was bad?
I didn't like it. I think I went in unaware of what I was going through a Meg Ryan phase, and this was like I was like, holy shit, this is not Sleepless in Seattle, you know what I mean? Woof.
So let's jump around. Not going to do Best Supporting because I don't consider those people real actors if they're just supporting. So let's go to screenplays.
Best adapted or original?
Oh, we'll do both of those. So Belfast,
right.
Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Worst Person in the World, Best is original screenplay. What do you think's gonna win?
Oh, I was looking at original score. God, I'm so
stupid.
You know what? Oh, best original screenplay, Worst Person in the World, dude.
You think?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. With the like very specific dialogue that's got a lot of like the dialogue just really pops in that movie.
It really does. It really does. The movie, man, Worst Person in the World fucked me up. It's so good. I still think about it.
Yeah, it's too bad that wasn't nominated for more because it seems like that should have been.
It should have been a Best Picture nom.
Yeah, it should have been.
But because it's foreign, you know.
yeah, well, they nominated Drive My Car.
I know. Man, the Oscars are bullshit. I think really what this comes down to is just showing like how stupid the Oscars are and they're fucking fake.
Yeah.
And they don't matter.
So best adapted screenplay: Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, Power of the Dog.
Probably Drive My Car.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I feel like Power of the Dog's not going to do it, and Dune's definitely not going to win.
Yeah, and Drive My Car is a Haruki Murakami movie, I believe.
Yes,
based on a book or short story or something. So, yeah, it seems like that's a shoo-in. But could surprise us. Coda, whatever that is, could also win.
Who knows what that is?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are just listening. It's like, these guys are cinephiles. It's like, yeah, we are. We're talking about Putney Swope on this. Nobody's listening to this podcast because of how obscure that movie is.
we're too busy, okay, watching real cinema to be talking about this bullshit and actually watch all the fucking movies.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So fuck you.
Come at us.
Come at us in our email. What do you think?
All of our enemies, all of our podcast enemies are called kitties.
Kitty, yeah. Kitty cats. Come at us, you little kitty cats.
Anyway, you were going to say?
Oh, maybe for the last one, that's maybe fun. What about best cinematography? Oh, that's kind of lame.
Oh, yeah,
actually.
right. That is fun.
Fuck that. Let's not do it. Do we do director?
Cinematography, Dune, Nightmare Alley,
I think it's
Power
Dune
of the
too.
Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth,
you're reading the list.
West Side Story. I'm going to say it's either Dune or Nightmare Alley.
I think it's Dune. It's not Power of the Dog, but it should be Power of the Dog because the cinematography was very like understated and good. But Dune is just like a flex.
Yeah.
So I think Dune takes the prize, and I think Greg Fraser, he's on such a fucking upswing with Batman and shit that it's just like, yeah, give it to our boy Dune. Plus, I think the Academy will feel guilty for how little Dune has won, and they'll be like, here's a pity prize, Greg Fraser.
I also
Denis Villeneuve, you get it by proxy.
So looking at best film editing, Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom. My feeling is Don't Look Up is going to win.
Oh, yeah, you might be right.
Because in the past, Bohemian Rhapsody won, and it had the worst editing. So it's like Don't Look Up is very similar. It's like way too long. The editing is flashy in an annoying way. I think it could probably take it.
Yeah, you might be right. The Joe Walker is a beast, man, for Dune.
Yeah, I never saw it.
You haven't seen Dune?
No. I have the ability to watch.
What are you
things.
doing? You're a psycho.
So let's kind of just do a couple more.
Well, let's do
okay, best documentary short subject.
Okay. Yeah. Sick, man. Okay, we got When We Were Bullies. Audible,
okay, we're doing it.
The Queen of Basketball. Lead Me Home. 3 songs for Benazir.
This feels like a 3 songs for Benazir a year, I think.
Honestly, I was leaning that way. I always find with these categories, I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen any of them. And they say one, and it's usually the one that's the most fun to say.
Yeah.
And it's not an American-based doc, from what I gather from the poster and the title.
Yes.
I think I agree. I think 3 songs for Benazir.
So, okay, let's just do best makeup and hairstyling. Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, Eyes of Tammy Faye, House of Gucci. House of Gucci was kind of shut out of this year's Oscars also.
Yeah, but apparently it sucks.
Seemed like a shoo-in to be nominated for something, like a best actor or something. Like Lady Gaga should have gotten something this year. I don't know. I didn't see that movie.
God, you know what? Just out of pure like disinterest, I feel like it's gonna be fucking Cruella.
Okay.
They'll be like, she has 2 colors of hair.
Eyes of Tammy Faye could also be, because I think Jessica Chastain wore prosthetic face.
She did, yeah. She had quite a lot of extensive makeup done.
Okay, let's do best original song.
Mm-hmm.
So Be Alive from King Richard. Don't know what that movie is.
It's about the Williams sisters, isn't it?
I know it has Will Smith in it.
Yeah, it's about like the Williams tennis sisters.
Oh, okay.
And Will Smith plays the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he's their coach.
Oh,
and he's really mean.
Other songs, Das Oruguitas, a song from Encanto. Das Oruguitas from Encanto. Down to Joy from Belfast. No Time to Die. Somehow You Do for Good Days, a movie I've never heard of until I said it out of my own mouth.
All you're proving right now is that you can read.
That's really all I'm proving, that I'm not a cinephile.
There's no thought going on here. You're not like being critical. It's pretty funny.
Weird that Encanto nominated that song, because there's a lot of bangers in Encanto. Like one of the first times in a long time that a Disney movie is gonna like hit the culture that hard.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like Frozen, I think was the last time, and then prior to Frozen, it felt like it was in the 90s.
I honestly don't have a guess. I don't know what the hell's gonna win.
I think that Encanto will get it as a which I did see Encanto. Of all the films that we've talked about, I saw Encanto of all movies from beginning to end. In fact, that might be the only movie on this entire list of films I'm looking at that I've seen. And worst person in the world.
Shit, man, you're a psycho.
Thank you. I think they'll give it to Encanto, even though that's not the best song in the movie.
Yeah, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, and it is like they got to give it to that movie because they got to get Lin-Manuel Miranda on stage.
That's right.
All right, let's just do one more. Best visual effects: Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man.
Dune.
Okay, there we go.
I think Dune wins technical awards because it got shafted on all the creative ones.
Yeah, but also, I don't know. Is it that good?
It was great. I watched it like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, fuck yeah, nice work, guys.
Okay, maybe I'm
excited for the next one to come out.
Maybe, okay, as soon as I finish Elden Ring, I'm going to...
So the year 2031?
Yeah, I'm just going to blast through this. I think I got another 50 hours left.
Oh, God. Well, if you don't go to the bathroom or sleep, you can do it in 2.5 days.
I could. Maybe I will do that. Maybe I'll poop sock it. Great. So we've figured out the Oscars. Listen to this episode. I mean, when it comes out, the Oscars will have already happened, and so you will just get a bunch of wrong predictions, I assume.
Poorly educated guesses that are irrelevant as you listen to these words being spoken. So
yes.
I think the only appropriate thing to say is apologies to everyone who bothered to listen to this episode.
We're coming at it from an interesting angle, because a lot of the times when you listen to a film podcast, somebody will be like, you know, I've seen all these movies. I really care about the Oscars. These are well thought out ideas about what's going to win, what's going to lose, blah, blah, blah. We have not seen most of these movies. We have no expertise. So our opinion is actually kind of more valid, because it's like, yeah, our guesses might be awesome and we might be right, because we're thinking about it from a completely different angle.
Here's what happens. If we're 100% accurate on our guesses,
yeah,
I buy us an ice cream cake.
Oh yeah, and we'll do another ice cream cake episode. That's a threat.
That's right.
Canines.
That's a threat. That's right. If I mean 100% right, and we skipped some categories that we don't care about because they're not important.
Yeah,
like best supporting actor.
Oh yeah, production design. We don't think that's important.
Yeah, fuck you.
Sound. Nobody listens to a movie.
No,
it's a visual medium.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if we're 100% accurate on the ones we did guess on, bada bing, bada boom, ice cream cake.
I love that. I love that for us.
Yeah, and I'm gonna leave it outside. Let it melt a little, refreeze it, then give it to you, just to echo what you did to me.
I love that. So I'm looking at this list of Oscars. That's Rotten Tomatoes list that they put together. It's like an Oscar ballot where you can just check the names off and then keep it around, so you can just compare your answers. But it also has the Rotten Tomatoes score beside every movie. Best Picture is hilarious because actually, you know what? Yeah. So in every category, everything is certified fresh except for Don't Look Up.
Oh, interesting.
So they all are very high, and Don't Look Up is 55%.
Oof.
So yeah, everything is above the 80s and 90s in the Best Picture, except Don't Look Up, which is 55%.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you look through all of the other categories, it's like high 80s. high 90s, blah, blah, blah. And then get down to screenplay again. Don't look up, 55%.
Wow. Spicy.
Yeah. And then what you get, then you get some more tomato splats in the more technical categories.
Mm-hmm.
But even Free Guy has an 80% Rotten Tomatoes critic score and a 94% fan score, which is not a surprise.
Similar to you, I saw about 10% of Free Guy, and I was like, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
Hey, so what are next week's movies, Mike?
So next week's movies are Mad Max Fury Road and the Adam Sandler vehicle Pixels.
Yes.
So get ready for that. And that wasn't intended as like a play on words, as in like vehicle, Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, that's funny. And then get ready, which is what video games say before you play. Very fun. You're such a clever fella.
Great. And maybe we can have a gamer corner next weekend next week where I talk about Elden Ring some more.
Nice. I can just mute my camera and microphone and go take a nap for probably 30, 40 minutes and then come back.
And then I slayed a dragon and I got this item that I did not use.
Come back, you're just like somehow riddled in acne and you're wearing glasses all of a sudden. And I'm like, Mike, you've changed physically. You've altered your states. It's a William Hurt reference.
Thanks everybody for listening. Oh, wait, Bob, you didn't say that,
this feels especially over.
Yes. Okay. So the podcast is over. Follow us on social media from Justin to Kane with the number 2 on Facebook, Twitter, Letterboxd. Email us at fromjustintokane, all words, at gmail.com. And bye.
Goodbye.